Again, my name's Dennis Brandl. Just to give you some idea here, what we're doing, what we've done in the standard here is we've laid out in part one, basically the vision of where we intend the entire thing to go. Okay, and what we've done in the preliminary version is to start by building a foundation of pieces that are actually going to work. We're doing this using a set of definitions we have. The applications is really where the final goal is. We want the applications to be portable. Applications mean different things to different people. To the end users, the applications are often the control strategies that they're programming in some function block language, in some sort of connectivity language. To the other software vendors, the applications are the pieces of software that might be optimizers or might be historians and these sort of things. So the idea here is to eventually get to that point where we have the applications, all of the applications portable, but we're doing this in stages. This, again, a little bit more difficult to read, but there's a copy of it in the technical architecture, the part one, and this lays out where we see the future is. We see the future is basic configuration information so that I can configure an entire system independent of where these things are actually going to operate. That means I've defined the I/O. That means I've defined the structure of it, whether it's organized by units and production lines, process cells, these sort of systems. And I can also configure the control strategies that I have associated with that, whether those control strategies are IEC 1131 or 61499. All these things are still under discussion for part two. And then all the interfaces that make up the system. So the OPAF specification are all the little round circles with the little cup and ball on it. That's really what we are specifying. We're not specifying what's inside the boxes. We're not specifying how those things are actually going to operate. We're going to specify how they actually talk. Now, to do this, we really need a very strong foundation, and that's what we're seeing here, the ones that are in dark. So we're building a foundation for us to build the next things, which means that all the devices that are out there that we're going to meet the specification are going to be able to communicate. Now, if any of you have used something like OPC UA, you recognize that getting the security right, getting the configurations right, still is a lot of work. So we're setting up profiles that define that, profiles that define exactly how the system will work together, how each module of interchangeability or interoperability will work together. And we're doing it with three separate things. We're doing it with the communications from the OPC UA. We're doing it for system management because we have to recognize we're talking about a system that's going to have hundreds, potentially thousands of nodes out there that need to be managed. So we want a standard way to manage that, to look at it and say, are they running? Are they not running? What's their status? And collect some of the information that they may actually have themselves. For example, what's my internal temperature? Are my fans working if I have it? All the things that you would typically do if you're managing a large server farm. We're managing a small server farm. At least it's small in space, but it still has hundreds to potentially thousands of nodes. And we're getting the security in place, because if these things don't all follow the same security profiles, they're not going to be able to talk together. So those three things, the security, the system management, and the basic communications and exchange of information, are the foundation that we're going to use to build the rest of the system. Now, the rest of the speakers here are going to talk about the foundational pieces that we have built, and you'll get to see some of the details and some of the pieces that are in here. So part one defines this. Part one defines where our future vision is and what the pieces are that we have just released. And we will go to Camillo to talk about security.